All right, now it's good. So I was a signals intelligence analyst for the Marine Corps a long time ago, like 15 years ago. And so like I was able to kind of get deeply involved with what the NSA was doing at the time, and really get a feel for the parsing and analytics of metadata. And so that's actually what brought me into Bitcoin. And back in 2011 was the ability to, I guess, analyze like a public ledger, right? Because all the crazy shit that we were doing with the NSA like metadata was crazy. You know, like you are able to like find out an entire person's life, and this is like pre-iPhone days, right? Find out an entire person's life, put together some, you know, report, and then go send some special forces guys to kick down some doors and like arrest or kill somebody, you know, all within maybe like 24 to 72 hours. And that was scary back then. That was pre-iPhone. So, you know, now we generate, I don't know, like billions more points of data than we did 10 to 15 years ago. And if I was an analyst today and I had that like amount of data available to me, it would be scary, right? You could essentially build an entire person's life into a report and come up with like everything about them. So I don't know. I mean, like I know that you've talked about this a lot, right? And that Bitcoin is kind of the way that we break the transaction chain and also obfuscate this whole like ledger of financial assets, right? But I'm kind of also interested in is like, are we able to eventually like break the surveillance economy and break the chains of Google, who it almost may be even more powerful than the NSA?
Well, that's a lot of question.
I know it's a lot there, yeah.
And a lot there. No, not in classical ways. We cannot. We've gone so far beyond signals intelligence, my friend. It is so easy. I mean, listen, everybody carries a smartphone, and smartphones, they don't make money selling phones. Yeah. People, if you think that's the economy, you need to wake up. No, people make money selling information, right? And smartphones are designed to allow people to supply, not for any nefarious purposes necessarily. I mean, Samsung, you know, it took Samsung 5 years to admit that microphone that people found in their television sets was actually listening to you. You know, and finally in their manual said that if you want to have a private conversation, don't do it in front of our TV. Yeah. I mean, that's honesty there. But no, it's the smartphones that are the real problem, because they are designed to allow people to open the microphone, your video, your camera, your Wi-Fi, read your mails if you allow. All for the sole purpose of helping you.
Yeah.
Think about it, right? I mean, listen, you know, you don't want to think for yourself. That's hard fucking work. Let us do it for you. We'll just monitor and notice your habits and fix the world for you so that those things that you need, like new shoes, you know, or car wax that you've been talking about, is provided to you as quickly as possible. Well, those facilities are for marketers, salesmen, promoters, but those same facilities can be used by anyone and are in fact used by our government.
Right.
Listen, people talk about encryption. Who gives a shit? There's no man in the middle anymore.
Right.
No one's listening. No one cares. I mean, if I can watch you type something in and read the screen when it is decrypted, or I can take an open file before encryption and read it, then does it matter if it's encrypted? No, it's a scam, people. I mean, we have no privacy. End of story. It's over.
So how do you opt out then? How do you like break that chain of surveillance?
Well, I mean, Janice and I, we don't own telephones. That's one thing. We can't.
Yeah.
If we owned telephones, we would be collected, we would be identified and located within 30 seconds. Please God, people. So we can't own them. We've our office and communications room is a Faraday cage.
Yeah.
That's lined with signal jammers. We have no devices that have location. We're not using some $79 a month VPN that you download from Google. No, we have some serious VPNs.
Right.
And so you have to live like us, I guess. We don't have bank accounts. We can't. It's impossible. We don't have credit cards. We can't have credit cards. We live on cryptocurrency. I work and get paid in crypto. Everything I buy is in crypto. There are tens of thousands of us like this. We're the only people who are under the radar. Everybody else, I'm sorry. But you have to sacrifice so much.
Yeah.
And the average person cannot live like Janice and I live. 8 months now, where we can't even tell our closest family where we are. Nobody knows where we are.
But we shouldn't have to do this. We shouldn't have to be like a prisoner on the run, right? Trying to escape from.
I don't know what we should or should not have to do. I'm 74. I'm not old enough to answer questions of should or should not. But I do know what is, and it is what we have to do. Should, I don't know, but it is.
Yeah. Because any person that seems to be a threat to any government, right, is immediately tracked and spied on. I mean, look what they did to Assange in the embassy. They placed listening devices so they could, watch him 24 hours a day in a foreign embassy, which constitutes almost that's. I mean, it should be an act of war, right? To spy on to spy on somebody in a foreign.
Welcome to the real world. Let me tell you our story. I mean, I discovered in early January that the IRS was convening a grand jury on the 22nd of January last year, which gave us enough time to leave the country on our boat. Mm-hmm. I went to the Bahamas, and they came after us in the Bahamas, cut a deal with Paul Roll, the commissioner of police, to arrest us on bogus charges because I could not be extradited on the Bahamas. I was charged with tax crimes. Mm-hmm. There is no income tax in the Bahamas, and therefore failure to pay it is not a crime, can't be extradited. So they had to do underhand stuff. We found out about that, left 6 hours before they were coming to collect us. Went to Cuba, were there for 2 months, and Janice and I were called in by the Cuban government and told that the U.S. had unofficially asked that we be returned to America. Cuba was disinclined to do so, but did tell us that, we are going to have to ask you to leave. I mean, your continued presence here was going to be uncomfortable. So we left. 4 days at sea, pulled into the Dominican Republic, and we were arrested there before we could get off the boat. And they said, you have to go back to America. Now, that's a long fucking arm. Please, all right? Through the Bahamas, Cuba, Dominican Republic. So anyway, we fortunately, this is not my first rodeo. And if I don't want to go somewhere, it's pretty hard to make me. So we won that battle in court after 4 days. Went to London. Mm-hmm. And on the way, we just agreed, said, we just can't keep doing this forever. We can't. So we went underground. Not as much fun as being on the run, where we can stand in the Bahamas and sunbathe and fish while thumbing up our noses at America just 90 miles away, right? No, we can't let anybody know where we are now.
I mean, do you think so it sounds like you would have kept on the seasteading kind of movement if you could have, but I couldn't.
See, what happened is their information was so good, they just got there before we did to the Dominican Republic. I mean, they just kept creeping, getting closer and closer, and finally they jumped ahead, waiting for us, for heaven's sake. So, no, the surveillance state is supremely powerful. supremely all-knowing. And the only way to be unknown is to disconnect from the system. Don't have a telephone. If you have a telephone, you're connected. You will always be watched. They will always know where you are. You will never have any freedom.
Yeah.
We can never, ever again have telephones. This is a fact of life.
Or even any other electronic, right? Like a smart TV.
Oh, no bullshit. As long as it's not as long as it's not a connection to a cell tower somewhere, they can't find me.
Right.
Because it's got to go over the internet. And you try to find my sorry ass. I mean, you were in SIG, and I guarantee you, you spend 5 years, you still aren't going to get anywhere within 1,000 miles of me.
Right. I mean, most people make the thing is that most people make mistakes, right? Is that, you know, they're you have to get into a really good routine, or you start making mistakes, right? You turn a phone on at some point, sometime that gives a signal, or, you know,
but we can't. We don't own phones and don't allow phones anywhere near. See, listen, I'm not new to this rodeo either, my friend.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You know, I created the world's largest computer security firm. Now, if you think I could do that without being able to hack into whatever I wanted and prevent others from getting access to me, then you're wrong, because I am one of the best hackers, and I am the most knowledgeable, one of the most. And if I don't want you to find me, you are not finding me. I don't make mistakes, because I know what all the mistakes are.
And it's incredible to think that cryptocurrencies, which were just created a decade ago, provide the first step towards freedom, right? Which, you know.
Yes, cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Now, you started out saying Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin is not cryptocurrency. I mean, it is, but it's not all a cryptocurrency. Includes Bitcoin.
Right.
Very old technology, but it has no privacy, by the way. None. No distributed applications, no smart contracts. It's a very, very old technology, but it opened the door and let us see the possibilities. And in that field of possibilities, we have Monero, distributed exchanges, and smart contracts, and magical shit that is super powerful and can help free us. And what I'm using, and tens of thousands of others, to put a veil between me and those corrupt, overburdening governments that are simply self-serving entities of power.
I mean, the cat's out of the bag now, really. There's any developer can come along and integrate, different encryption systems or different tools or anything else into a new cryptocurrency and release it and see if it gets traction, right? Maybe people want more privacy-focused features. Maybe they want more application-focused features. But
absolutely, absolutely. That's an unlimited land of possibility. Pick your poison and run with it.
Because I know that the thing that is the scariest to all governments is the ability for them not to monitor financial transactions. That's probably the at least
the ability what? I'm sorry.
To monitor financial transactions. So if
absolutely, but see, do governments have the right to do that bullshit?
Yeah,
my fucking money, my job, I earned it. No, because once you break that veil of privacy, there's no other privacy left.
Right.
Because if your financial privacy is known, your entire fucking life is known.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm rebelling against, and you should be too, and everybody should be, especially in America. Income taxes are unconstitutional.
It's horrible.
We've been raped and raked over the coals for 107 years. Enough is enough.
I know. I mean, it's mind-boggling to think the pain that we put ourselves through, year after year, when it comes to taxes and everything else, all for the sake of big tax firms, right? Who want to maintain that structure,
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I'd look going forward as a crypto really provides the first step in being able to provide actual free speech, right? Because you have the ability to send code out, which is your own free speech, and anybody else can take it and use it and provide value. And it builds a system of value that directly comes from free speech. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Open source.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that it's really the first step towards building this new again, breaking the chain, right? Eventually somebody will come along and figure out how to break that surveillance economy and give us back our freedoms again. Right?
Well, the blockchain is that opportunity for people. Take it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I am extremely, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. So I wanted to ask about, okay. So if you had to, I guess some analogies about like dissociatives and like psychedelics and stuff, right? I was wondering if you could provide like, again, so if you're someone who's, I think, tried every drug under the sun, right?
Pretty much everyone I've ever heard of, yes.
How do you describe them? Like, what would be like the analogy for like LSD versus like ketamine? Is it like or
LSD versus ketamine?
Or like,
I'm not fond of dissociatives. I'll be frank.
No? Yeah.
No, I'm not fond of downers. I like hallucinogenics and uppers.
Yeah.
If we didn't have more advanced drugs, so I would say methamphetamine well, is the number one drug.
Yeah.
For upper. Now, when I say I don't like downers, I'll have to make an exception there. Heroin, but only in the mainline form, not in any other form. Well, how do you describe heroin? It's like being kissed by God. End of story. And every now and then there's nothing wrong with that. But no, I'm an upper sort of guy. But see, the methamphetamines and cocaine, that is so old, ugly, nasty drugs compared to the stuff that the Russians and the Eastern Bloc and the Chinese whipped up over the past 35 years. Things like MDPV, methylene dioxypyrovalerone. That's the most powerful drug on the fucking planet.
Wow.
And the problem with MDPV is it is severely dosage dependent.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you've probably heard about, 4 or 5 years ago, this guy in Florida that ate another person's face.
I remember that, yeah.
That was MDPV. Now, what happened is pretty clear. MDPV, you want 5 milligrams per 150 pounds is the going rate.
Yeah.
Now, if you're 150 pounds and you do 4, nothing happens. And if you're 150 and you do 6, you eat somebody's fucking face. Now, that in order to take MDPV, you've got to have a fucking scale that costs $5,000, right? I mean, people go, I'm going to eyeball it. I'm going to cut it in half and cut it. No, you're going to either eat somebody's face or complain because you got ripped off. No, it's a very dangerous drug because of that. However, analogs came out. Alpha PBP, there was not dosage dependent. Later on, alpha PHP, far less. In fact, I don't think you can overdose on alpha PHP. I've never heard of anybody eating somebody's face on it. However, it will keep you awake for up to 15 days if you're not careful. Not a pleasant experience if you are, in fact, desperate to sleep. I'm an upper hallucinogenic. You need some mushrooms. And I got a mushroom story for you. Okay, so now, see the problem with multiple drugs that you're taking simultaneously, almost, is time. Time tends to sort of slip away into either a compressive or an expansive state, right? Where you're sitting for 5 hours looking at the clock, waiting for the second to tick, right? So, so San Jose, I can't remember the year, 1980, I think, bought a bag of mushrooms. I'd been taking everything. I'd just come down off of a DMT trip. I was obviously smoking. You smoke weed all the time. Obviously, It sort of mellows things out, and drinking alcohol. Whatever. So ate a couple of mushrooms, nothing happened. And it seemed like hours went by, and I'm getting pissed, and I ate the whole bag, and still nothing happened. Anyway, so I hopped in the car, went downtown San Jose, parked right across from the park. I get out, and there's a dog in the park, just barking in the street. Woof, 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 woof. I mean, seriously, something in that fucking tree. It's either Satan himself or one of the biggest squirrels on the planet. So I love dogs. So I walk across the street, and I'm looking up in the tree. I'm going, well, what you barking at, boy? And then the dog says, nothing. I was just trying to get your attention. Well, now, that was a day. So weird shit happens when you combine everything, especially in massive quantities. So I forgot what your question was. You know, people go, "What's the best drug for what? For sex?
Exactly.
So, MDPV. You know, for introspective analysis, LSD. You know, for just hanging back and grooving and smiling at everything, weed, I think, with some alcohol attached to it. What is it you want? That's the issue. You know, you want to stay up all night studying alpha BHP.
Yeah. I had a
cathinones. I'm fond of the cathinones. A lot of people say they're ragged. Well, of course they are. They're uppers people. But if you get over that ragged edge, I mean, the cathinones can do shit that methadone only dreamed of. Methamphetamines. Once you've taken, you know, the cathinones, and you try speed, you go, why did I ever snort this shit or shoot this shit? Whatever. Because you go, this is nasty. And cocaine, God, I wouldn't take it. You couldn't force me to take cocaine now after alpha PBP. You know, good God, it makes cocaine look like a third grader's soiled lollipop. So
I had a K-hole trip once where I remember just being in an infinite point of blackness. And I was a minuscule point of light and infinite expanse of blackness. And I was about the point where I had to question my reality and wonder if everything was okay.
Listen, if I had $1 for every time I questioned my reality and asked if everything was okay, well, fuck, I would retire today.
Yeah, because the Russians come up with some weird shit. I know that. I was in Russia for the past 6 years, and you could go into the pharmacies and buy like modafinil, and you could buy
what now?
Like you could buy modafinil. You could buy, that was the stuff they give to
but listen, modafinil and what was the other one? The precursor starts with a P. Doesn't fucking matter. Provigil.
Yeah.
Provigil. Whatever it's called. Who cares? Paracetamol or something.
Yeah,
who gives a fuck? God, that's again a very piss poor upper, if you want it for uppers. It's like Adderall. I mean, listen, the pharmaceutical companies have got nothing on the fucking Chinese now. No, the Chinese redefined terms like upper, down, disassociative.
Yeah.
It has been totally fucking redefined. No, now something. And here's, have you ever? I don't think any drug other than MDPV gives tactile hallucinations. All right, you know what that is, right? In other words, the hallucination instead of visual or auditory, they are tactile. That you feel like you're being touched or stroked, or I mean. I remember being at a bank once, and I was certain some woman was sucking my dick, and I kept looking down, nobody there, but I felt it, and my dick was hard, and it was embarrassing. But in any case, that's some of the weirdest shit in the world, is you can't tell what's touching you. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because I think the only drug in the world that we know of that provides tactile stimulations is MDPV.
I'm going to have to go find this.
Yeah, anyway,
is it hard to find?
It's impossible to find and massively illegal in every country in the world now. Although it was like free almost, and bath salts in head shops for 10 years.
So are you like, what do you think about all this coronavirus shit? Are you taking precaution? Yeah. Well, are you taking?
Fuck no. It's bullshit. People, 3,000. What horror. 5 months of this terror, and 3,800 people have died in the world in that same period of time. 310,000 have died from the flu. Now, if you want to worry about something, what is your biggest risk? The fucking flu. Obviously, today, it's nonsense. China shut down Wuhan. Why? We're going to contain this airborne virus. If you sneeze, those little droplets get wafted by the wind. They can travel 1,000 fucking miles, all right? Please, people, there's something else going on here. What it is ain't exactly clear.
It's like the ability to have systemic lockdowns by the governments.
Yes. Fuck yes. Yes. For whatever purpose you want. No news gets out. No news gets in.
Did you see the videos of the Chinese like welding the doors shut of these apartment buildings? It's crazy.
Well, I mean, yeah, I would be doing the same thing. Quite frankly, I think it's a zombie outbreak, and the coronavirus is just an excuse. And they just want people to know that they have, in fact, created zombies. In fact, you might want to go on the South China Zombie Research Center site on Twitter. Read their stuff. Scary, just saying.
Is this like a, I mean, do their zombies like retain like personhood, or do they send in?
No, they don't. No, absolutely not. You become a zombie, you're no longer a citizen. You can't vote, I don't think. No, you lose all personhood qualities. You can't drive a car. You can't get ID. That's one of the biggest problems. Okay, and that's why there's been all of these revolts all over China. These zombies that can't get fucking IDs. They can't get the job. You can't do anything. It's a tragic situation.
Yeah. Shit. So, are you going to be able to like? 2020 is coming up. What do you drink, John?
I don't know. It's some kind of wine, allegedly.
With 2020 coming up, are you guys prepared for the election cycle?
Well, I'm not going to vote. I don't understand why anybody would.
I mean, you're running though, right?
Of course, yes, absolutely. But not a rat's chance in hell. He could ever get elected. I'm John Mcafee, if you haven't noticed. No, but I'm running so that, like I ran in 2016 on the Libertarian Party. I got into national debates with Ted Stossel and Gary Johnson and those idiots. I want to do the same thing this time because, I'm 74. I've seen a lot. I've seen things that some of you younger kids haven't seen. And maybe formed ideas and perspectives and understandings that might benefit you. I don't know. And it's something to do. It keeps me alive.
But how do you pass those on to people like myself, which are in their 30s and 20s? I mean,
how do I pass it on?
Yeah, I mean, it's just
passing it on. I'm passing it on right now, aren't I?
Yeah.
Talking to you. You and I are just honestly shooting the shit. And in that process, some aspect of my own experience and understanding comes out. Maybe it's helpful to you.
Yeah.
Not, in either case, it's entertaining to me.
Because I hope that I know you do speak a lot, and I know that it's important. I guess when you're able to affect so many people, right, through your business and through also your I guess contributions to the crypto space, right? I think it's super important to be able to speak out. People. I'm guessing that people really find they're helped by what you're doing, right? Maybe.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. All I know is it feels right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess so. I mean, I'm, you feel like you go through like different epochs in life. Like you transition from your like childhood into like mid-20s and then like 30s, or there's all the like different times that pass, right? And you kind of remember the previous parts of your life, but they're not exactly the most livable anymore, right? And who you transition to into the current moment may not actually fit in those time periods before, right? So if you like look back upon yourself in your like 30s and 40s versus who you are now, like would that person be even recognizable to you?
Yeah,
You
for me, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, also, I don't measure my life in years. I measure my life in mileposts. The women I've lived with,
Yeah.
the jails I've gotten into and out of, the narrow escapes, the adventures, and yeah, I'm me throughout all of that. And I think I would recognize me in a second if my 20-year-old self walked in.
Yeah. I mean, what would you tell your 20-year-old self? Just like
Nothing.
nothing.
Fuck nothing. Oh, fuck that. I don't want to change anything in my life.
Yeah.
I'm here because of every tiny mistake, every tiny decision, every tiny step. And I like where I am, dude. I don't want to risk the tiniest thing. Tying one shoelace before the other. Fuck no, you do it exactly the same. So I wouldn't tell myself anything.
I agree with you. Yeah, I think that you can't be you without both the ups and the downs, right? And more so the downs, right? Because like you're like
you learn more from them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we have time for one more question, my friend.
Right. That's okay. This is easy one. What's your favorite firearm?
For what? It's like the drugs. For what? Home defense. It depends on the home. How big are the rooms? How wide are the doors?
Yeah.
Small home. Give me a pistol. I mean, two actually.
Not a shotgun.
But because first of all, you can't go through the door sideways with a shotgun.
Right.
The barrels are either long and they carry sufficient rounds, or they're short and they carry insufficient rounds. I've got nothing. A Kel-Tec, beautiful. You can get 17 rounds in a Kel-Tec, but then you got to futz with the goddamn lever to move from one mag to the other mag, right? Yeah. So now, I mean, I like shotguns, and if you give me a Benelli semi-auto loaded with 00 buck, 2 3/4 inch shells, I mean, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
But don't give me two pistols, all right? Both of them semi-autos. I've either Glock or Sig Sauer, and one on each hip. I'm a fast draw. Give me a fast draw holster. I'd say that's the best home defense. Now, these people go out and buy a fucking Judge. You need your head. Fucking examine. Everybody goes, oh, get a Judge. Why? Look at this thing. Well, you can put 410 shells. So I'm going to go through goddamn wallboard. What are you going to shoot with it? And if you do accidentally shoot somebody, you are going to piss them the fuck off.
Yeah.
Right? So no, Judge, absolutely not. 2 pistols, 17 rounds in each, 19 maybe, or a Benelli, a semi-auto shotgun, or yeah, well, forget that. That's illegal. So no, there you have it. Yeah, well, hang on a second. You all right. Don't go away. No.
Oh shit. Yeah, right. That's it.
Now, in my part of the world, okay, I'm sorry. I can't fucking hear you. I know, don't ever treat a gun this way. Nevertheless, I am a trained fucking specialist, so.
treat a gun better than treat your wife.
I sure as fuck do. So now, in this part of the world, this is as good as it gets.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Battle tested.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you can drop this in the fucking mud
Yeah.
in the middle of winter, come back in 5 years, kick it out, pull the trigger, and the motherfucker will cycle.
Oh yeah.
Now, how they do it, I don't have a goddamn clue. But there is an example of an old, tried and true technology. And thank you for having me on.
Yeah, thanks, John. It's a beautiful weapon you have there, and thanks for the interview.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.